a mailbag session and we look at a crystal ball that Major League Baseball pulled out and we think it might be broken. Let's talk Astros baseball right now.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
All right, there's a lot of questions that we've gotten for today's show, and I have a few questions. I know there's an article in the Chronicle today about should the Astros bring back Yuli Gurriel? Is there room for him on the roster? I know it seems like every show people want to know, so we do need to address that. A lot of people want to know about the Astros and the World Baseball Classic. How's that going to affect them getting ready? And there's just so many different good questions that we've gotten in, including a question about Dixon Machado. So if you don't know, then you don't know. You don't know what you're missing, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll talk about this and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. And thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, make sure you're going to keep on subscribing and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Check out the Locked On Astros podcast.
Yeah, so Eric, whenever you dive into a mailbag session, you never know what you're going to get. Like, it's kind of like Forrest Gump, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's right. And so, see, I opened the door for you there. Welcome to 2023, folks. Mr. Astro 2021 has been following us for a few months, and I chose his question to be first. And he comes out and he asks, do we think that the World Baseball Classic will have a negative impact on Astros players that will participate for their respective country? If a player has a down season, that's actually the second question. This is actually a two-parter. So number one, what do you think? Will the WBC have a negative effect on Tucker, Altuve, whoever? Presley, whoever else is, all the guys that are competing? Is it a negative thing? Will it impact them negatively, or what? What do you think?
Well, I think if you look at the Kyle Tuckers and Jose Altuve's, the guys that will be playing every day, every inning, that type of thing, you are asking them to play full time when they're normally just playing 3 innings here and there. And so they're normally like working their way up. But now I believe they start I looked it up a second ago. They start playing on March 8th. So that's going to be early. So spring training starts mid-February. And yes, their spring training games will be going on at the same time, but you're going to be asking these guys to play 9 innings, most likely, because Jose Altuve, let's just say it, he's probably going to be one of the best players on the Venezuela team. Kyle Tucker, I don't know if he's going to be the best player on the Team USA, but he's going to be one of the better players, and he'll get. So I think for the hitters, it may give them more of a chance to get locked in, but they may struggle a little bit more to get started. With the pitchers, they don't get that chance to work on things that they normally work on during spring training. Well, what if I do this? What if I do this? Because the games count. And so you see, especially a lot of young pitchers, they kind of work on stuff during spring training. So will it have a negative impact? Yes and no. It just depends on the player, the preparation, and how they take on the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, I guess for me, I just have to look back at, previous baseball classics, the most recent one 4 years ago, and I don't remember anything negative coming out of it. I think it's only as negative as a player wants it to be if they're going
Injuries.
to go hard after a ball into an outfield wall, if they're going to slide into a base. And,
Right.
I really think the players are going to be careful with that stuff. And there may be stipulations in their contracts as well as to how many innings they can play and stuff like that. So, I'm pretty sure there are inner workings and discussions with the front office, the coaching staff, the trainers of these teams before these players take off, and they probably have parameters. It's kind of like a college athlete when a college athlete is on scholarship. There was a student highly recruited out of when I taught at Second Baptist. He was recruited to go play at the University of Colorado. He was one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Well, his family owned a house that was in Aspen, Colorado. And it was specifically stated when he signed with them that he was not allowed to go snow skiing while he played football with them. So
Right.
I don't know if Major League Baseball does that. I haven't gotten that much into it, and I could probably reach out to some people to find out. But that for me, I think it will be fine. I think our guys are veteran enough, and we have enough arms in the barn and all that stuff that I think they'll be fine. So the second part to this question.
Can I just
Yeah.
throw in something real
Yeah, go
quick?
ahead.
I was wrong. The United States, they're in Pool C, so they will start their play March 11th. Venezuela is in Pool D. They will start their pool play on in March 11th too. So, but the most likely they'll be doing a lot of their exhibition games against. So you could see Altuve playing against the Astros in certain situations. And I think spring training is kind of set up like that. You're going to have some of the Team USA Venezuela team kind of playing against that. I have to look at the schedule, but I remember I think it's something like that.
Yeah, they will do that. They will play against each other, obviously. But I think at the end of the day, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. And there are a couple questions, and I'm making mental note of them, and we can come back to those. But I do want to finish these first three that people submitted. The second part of his question, and I don't think we should spend a whole lot of time on this, but if a player, I'm going to add players, has down seasons or a down season, will the excuse be, oh, well, they have a World Series hangover? And I'll go ahead and lead off with that. I don't think this ball club knows what a World Series hangover is because they've gone to 6 straight ALCS. And I think proof is in the pudding. I think maybe an unexperienced team that has that. Now, did the Braves experience a World Series hangover? No, not necessarily. They just had more injuries and stuff and adversity that they dealt with the year after they won. So it was a little bit different thing. The Phillies got hot. But Eric, what do you think? Do you think if Bregman has a down year, if Tucker has a down year, do you think people are going to blame it on, oh, they just won the title, so they're just kind of like hanging out and chilling?
Well, if you ask the Yankees, they're still suffering from their 2009 World Series hangover. I mean, they can't seem to win another one. So I think it all depends on the team and the clubhouse culture, just the everything like that. So I know I read an article today that said that fans across baseball are looking at the Astros and the rotation specifically and saying, they're all right. They're not as good as they were last year because they don't have Justin Verlander anymore. But the Astros have a decent pitching staff, and we'll talk about what you talk about in a second. But I think the Astros have been there. They've done it enough. They've fallen short many times, and they know what it takes to get back and win. So, no, I don't think that they'll suffer a World Series hangover.
So I'm going to throw this back up here just because I think it goes along with what you're talking about because you talk about missing Justin Verlander, okay? And that is a big loss. Those are a lot of innings, a lot of wins, a lot of strikeouts that you won't have. And so Joel Alba said, "Do you think the Astros should acquire another starting pitcher via trade to fill the fifth or sixth slot?" I was really kind of hoping that they would go out and get Johnny Cueto. They did not get him. He went to the Marlins. That was a very good signing for that ball club, a veteran with a young pitching staff. I can see them at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline going and trading for somebody. Now, do you trade a pitcher to get another pitcher? Is Jose Urquidy that guy? Because I saw another article today why Jose Urquidy is tradable. So I think they get someone if they do at the trade deadline, but it also depends. Are the pitchers healthy? How's Lance McCullers? Is Hunter Brown doing his thing in the second segment? We'll talk about will Hunter Brown be rookie of the year and things like that. But Eric, do you think they are more likely to get someone at the trade deadline to bolster the pitching staff? Or do you think they stand pat with who they have?
I think that I saw somebody joke earlier that said you need 9 starting pitchers. They're not too far off. I know the Astros have a couple rookies who may be ready, JP France, and you got a couple others. Forrest Whitley, he could take a next step this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if because there's some big names still out there. Chris Archer still out there. I know he's not the old Chris Archer. You have David Price out there. He's not the old David Price, but you have Mike Minor. Some of these guys may be retired. I don't know everything. Dylan Bundy's still out there. Michael Waka's still out there. Chad Cool. You have Danny Duffy, Joe Ross, Matt Harvey. Remember the Batman? He was supposed to be the next best thing. Garrett
Pass.
Richards. And you
Pass.
can always go out and get Mark Appel. And JB Buskauskas was released today or DFA'd by the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. Okay. Here's your first clue. They have Strom and they DFA'd a prospect. If Josh Rojas had not been included in that trade for Zach Greinke, I agree with Millard over at Locked On Diamondbacks. That trade would have been an absolute disaster. Josh Rojas is the only saving grace. Seth Beer's playing in AAA still. Okay, it's not Beer 30 anywhere. Buskauskas is gone. Corbin Martin, dude, he was lighting up in AAA last time I saw him. But, I want everybody to know that this episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, analysis. And if you want to bet that we're going to get to your question, well, you're a great bettor because that's right. We will get to your question here in the next segment. But let's get the latest odds and trends of every professional and amateur league at BetOnline. That's right. From pro football all the way to basketball to hockey. Those playoffs are starting up soon. I mean, where will James Harden end up when he becomes a free agent? There's all kinds of things to talk about. And hey, if you love sports podcasts because you listen to Locked On Astros, but you want to hear other sports and other topics, you can find it there at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
Alrighty, so I'm kind of looking at the list, and there's some interesting names out there, but all the big name guys are kind of gone. And at this point, you're just going to have to kind of just see what's out there, see what's at the trade deadline when you're ready.
Who is not contending,
right?
Who has a pitcher that needs something in return and all that stuff. Maybe you've got some guys like a Corey Julks who hasn't gotten his chance in the majors, and he's one of those trade pieces. Because Corey Julks,
but he needs to have a good season.
Oh, dude, he's one of like 3 or 4, minor league players to hit 30 home runs, steal 20 bases this last year. I encourage y'all, go to the Instagram of the Sugarland Space Cowboys. Ryan Posner, who does all the promotion stuff for the Space Cowboys, is doing a Rising Star segment, and they started with Corey Julks, and his numbers are eye-popping, Eric. We've got a few people over here on the side that have asked some questions, and I'm going to ask you this, Eric. How confident are you that the Astros are going to lock up Kyle Tucker?
I would say it's a 50-50 shot at this point. I think that there's a mutual desire to sign a contract. It's just the fact Jim Crane has to look at all the contracts that have been thrown out there this offseason, the money that's been thrown out there, and he's not that type of guy. He's not that type of guy that just throw out that money at any player. So I know Kyle Tucker's looking at all these contracts that are being thrown out like money or like candy or whatever, or beads at the Mardi Gras. And it's just like, I don't know if the Astros and Kyle Tucker are going to find a match. I hope they do, because this is a guy I want to root for the rest of his career with the Houston Astros. But we'll have to see. He has to want to stay. The Astros have to be willing to meet his price, at least come close to meeting his price, because if with the shift being banned, and if we think that it's going to help him as much as we think it is, he's become an elite hitter if he wasn't already.
Yeah, that's and I have to agree with you 100%. Not just to be a copycat there, but I think you and I both feel the same way about that. Now the next question is, it's a two-parter. Okay, the first part is Dixon Machado is listed on the roster. This is from Jesse Smith on Facebook. Does he make the team, or is he DFA'd for another open spot? He does not make the team. He's 30 years old. He's been in the minors 11 years. He's a guy. He's your quadruple A guy. He's not going to make a surprise appearance. If he makes a surprise appearance, Eric, that means things have gone ridiculously wrong for the Astros. And no offense, Dixon, we don't want that. Now, this next question, and I really want to talk about this. I think this is an even more important question because I know our viewers and listeners have this same question. And you may have addressed it already. What is our biggest concern for the Astros going into 2023? The person, Jesse Smith, said for him, it's can our pitching staff stay healthy like they did last year? So for you, what is your biggest concern? Is it the absence of Justin Verlander?
I would say during the regular season, yes, his presence is going to be missed. I think that during the postseason, he wasn't as great. I mean, it was ups and downs. He literally had a bad start, good start, bad start, good start. But what he did during the regular season, you can't duplicate. And Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, whoever, it's going to take a lot to duplicate that. And they can't try to beat Justin Verlander. But that's not my primary concern. I think this staff is deep enough, especially with Hunter Brown ready to step in or have a 6-man rotation. I would say that I'm really worried about the catching position or the center field position. And as good as Chas McCormick did during the postseason, can he maintain that intensity for a full season? And I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying, can he? And then also, who steps up and in the backup catcher, because Martin Maldonado, his days are numbered. Yes, he had a career high in home runs last year, but he looked anemic batting otherwise. So I think that the Astros need to find the next man up in terms of catcher. Is it could be Diaz? Is it could be Lee? But that's also some of the biggest intrigue about 2023. Those two questions.
So what you're telling me is you're a marginal member of the Astros cult. You're not fully on the Martin Maldonado train, right? I'm just giving you a hard time.
He's a great catcher.
I know. I'm just
as a defensive guy.
Me, I'm just totally messing with the whole narrative.
Wow. I could talk about his framing all day, his throwing out second base.
But his defensive tools have declined, Eric.
Yes. But seriously, how much of that had to do with his hernia? He as somebody who's had that surgery before, it's hard to be that mobile. So how many of those pass balls were
the
because
broken hand? Of that? I mean, come on. Yeah. We've got excuses, okay? Martin Maldonado is my MFing catcher, okay? Plain and simple. So I think, Eric, the biggest concern for me in 2023, Lance McCullers Jr., how many innings does he pitch? Does he stay healthy all season? Okay, number one. Number two, how healthy is Michael Brantley going to be? Okay. And my third one is who is going to secure the utility position? Like, I want a utility guy pegged in spring training. I don't want it to be a revolving door. Those are my three concerns. I think if Lance McCullers is healthy, he takes on a brunt of innings that he didn't get last year. I think you also can give some of those innings to Hunter Brown. He's projected by Fangraphs to pitch 100 innings. I think that's extremely low. I think he's going to pitch at least 40 or 50 more than that, and he can if they just let him go out there more. So for me, those are my three concerns. Now, someone wants to ask us this, and I think we can throw this up there. Mark, if you could throw up Joshua's question about Dusty Baker. Do both of you think Dusty Baker should evenly divide playing time between Maldi and Diaz and Lee so that the latter two can be groomed? I can tell you I think he should, but I don't think he will. I think if Maldonado's healthy, he's going to groom them, but he's not going to give them a lot of his playing time. What do you think, Eric?
You've seen the movie Meet the Fockers, right? You have to get in the circle of trust, or else you'll be milking something. So you know what the reference there, but
I don't know what that means.
A cat.
Okay.
So anyway, that's from the movie. But I think that whoever gets in the circle of trust for Dusty Baker, he's going to get a lot of playing time. And I think what you're going to see maybe more this year with Martin Maldonado getting older and maybe not hitting as good is you may see, if they play 6 games in a week, you may see Maldonado start 4 of the games, and then one of the other guys start 2 of the games. Right. Maybe if they play 7 games, you may see Maldi start 4, the other guy starts 3. I think you may see more of a personal catcher situation going because certain catchers like pitchers like throwing to Maldonado, and some don't really care. So I think those are some factors that go into. And what if Corey Lee just gets super hot and he just lights it up during spring training, then carries it into regular season? You got to give him more playing time.
Well, here's the thing too, and just to kind of wrap this up, because I do want to move on to the Hunter Brown thing. I think you could bring these young catchers in, whoever the backup is, in a lot of late inning situations. And remember last year, there were a lot of times when Astros social media would be like, why isn't he putting Corey Lee in, or why isn't he putting Diaz in, or why isn't he putting Vasquez in this late inning? Because I remember Martin was struggling at the plate, right? Why isn't he? It's because of me. Why? Yeah. I was too. I was like, look, you've got these serviceable catchers that are offensive. Why not play them in late innings? So what I'm wondering is, will the shift in the mindset be, you know what? If we're not going to give them these starts, let's at least give them these bullpen guys to catch a variety of different pitchers, and also have key opportunities to hit in the game. And that makes me think of Hunter Brown, because Hunter Brown is embarking on one of the most anticipated rookie seasons of any pitcher that the Astros have had or in recent memory. I mean, I can't remember this much buzz about a pitcher since Roy Oswalt. I mean, maybe Tim Redding, joking, but I just really think.
Hey! Tim Redding was my boy. Don't diss him.
I'm sure he was your boy, Eric. I'm sure he was. So here's the thing: there have been 148 Rookie of the Year awards handed out. Okay, 74 in each league. Of those 148, 21 were pitchers. That's 14.2%. Who's the math guy now? Of the 21. And I rounded up on that 14.2, by the way. Of the 21, 16 were starters. That is 10.8%. That's also a roundup. It was 10.78, I think. So you have less than 11% of the Rookie of the Year winners were starting pitchers, Eric. If he only gets 10 starts like they say he's going to get, I don't think he wins it. But if he gets between 15 and 18 starts, he has a chance. What do you think his chances are? He's given a 9% confidence vote, tied with Tristan Casas, but Gunnar Henderson is a clear favorite at 73% with the Orioles. Anthony Volpe is under him, and Josh Jung is under him. Does Hunter Brown have a real shot, or does he have to do something really special? Because all these starting pitchers I've looked at in the Rookie of the Year, they've been good, but they haven't been like super great, outstanding. I mean, I think Fernandez was amazing, but they did what they were called to do. They won multiple games, double digits, and they went over 100 innings.
So to answer that question, you have to look at how many starts does he get? Because he can be as dominant as he wants to in a bullpen, but he's not going to get rookie year votes from being in a bullpen. They would want him to be a starter. And right now, as of right now, what's today, January 11th? It seems like he's the sixth starter. Do the Astros go with a 6-man rotation? Is somebody not performing well? Does he step in? So it depends on how many starts he gets. There's always a chance for an injury. So Hunter Brown will most likely get 20 starts no matter what, because I just think that the Astros, he is the next man up, depending on what happens. If there's injury, poor performance, he's going to be there. So it's just a matter of when he will get his opportunity. But you may not need it right at the beginning of the season because of all the off days that you normally have at the beginning of the season. But it depends on how many innings he pitches, honestly.
I think if he starts again between 15 and between 15 and 18, let's say he gets 14 or 15 wins. If he has an ERA between 2.5 and 3.3, I think he could easily be, maybe not the rookie of the year, but he could be up there and he could be in the talk in that conversation. There was something interesting out there, Eric, and there's all these crazy predictions right now. It's way too early to predict kind of things. And Major League Baseball.com put out the next 10 World Series predictions. Guess how many World Series the Astros are picked to be in between 2023 and 2032.
I know the answer, but I'm just going to play along and say all 10.
So Astros fan bias would say all 10. We're going to be in the World Series the next 10 years.
Right.
They don't have us in a single one. Now, listen to this list for the next 3 years. It's kind of absurd. And it's kind of insulting. The Dodgers and the Blue Jays. The Mets and the Orioles. The Giants and the Yankees. Okay. Take out the Giants. That can't be serious. Take the Orioles. The Orioles can be in there 4 years from now, not 2. But the Blue Jays, do they not see what the Blue Jays do every single year? They lost Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, they did gain some players, but Eric, the Astros, so did they just fall off the face of the earth? Is this the 7th year in a row curse? You win 6 ALCS, you go to 4 World Series, you win 2, and all of a sudden, like, what is this, Eric? Are they playing the field? Are they reading the room? Is this what MLB does? Like, would it have been wrong to at least put us in one of the next 4 World Series?
This is just a prediction based on where they think it's going. They see Justin Verlander is gone. You take away the ace from a team, it's always going to affect that team. So it's up to the Framber Valdez or Christian Javier to replace him. So I'm not surprised that the Astros were kind of taken out of the picture a little bit. I'm surprised that Carlos Correa's twins are not in the picture at all. I mean, because he's going to be a lifetime twin now, so that's kind of weird. But I would agree with like the Giants, maybe a little bit weird. The Tigers, that was in 2029. You're telling me that the Tigers are going to be winning the World Series? Are you kidding me?
So, and here's another gross misestimation. 2029, the Tigers, like you said, and the Braves. All of their stars, Eric, their young stars, their genius signings go through 2028. Yeah. So what? All these guys' contracts are going to expire and they're going to be well into their playing years, and it's going to be all that experience that leads them to the 2029 World Series. Like, if I was a Braves fan, I would be PO'd about this list. Honestly, right. I think the Astros and the Braves right now are my favorites to go to the World Series. I don't see, and I still think that NL East, and if the Mets, I think the Mets and the Braves are the most likely to go to the next 2 World Series. Now, other things can happen, but LA just proved to us. Your coach can say, well, we've won this many games already. We're definitely going to the World Series. Boom, jinx, you're gone. Like, you can win 100,000 games in a season, but you have to do it in the playoffs. The one team that scares me in here is what if instead of the Yankees in the ALCS this year, the Astros face the Orioles? They have a way to silence Astros bats. Yeah, the Orioles have some kooky magic against us, and I'm really kind of hoping we can grab their assistant GM, bring him over here, so we can find out what the heck's going on over there. And because they've got some studs, Eric. I mean, we just talked about Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman. I mean, their pitching staff, both relief and starting, is top notch. They're led by a great coach. And, I don't know. I see this stuff and I'm like, surely someone like hacked the computer or hacked the account and put this out there because they have the Angels in 2030. No offense, but y'all won't have Trout or Ohtani in 2030, or will they? I mean, they'll be like 80 years old by then. I mean, come on, guys. This can't be serious.
Right. Well, the Dodgers did trade for Miguel Rojas today, so I mean that's the answer at shortstop. I mean,
so does that mean they don't trust Gavin Lux?
No, he's going to play second base, and that allows Chris Taylor to go play left field, right field, center field, whatever they're going to do to be more of a utility guy. That's what he does pretty good there. So I think that if you're going to ask me who the Astros are going to face in the World Series, if they make it there, I think it's going to be a rematch of 2017. I think the Astros are going to face the Dodgers again. I think that MLB wants it to happen. They want a rematch. They want both parties to just duke it out and just no holds bars. So we'll see what happens. And on the next episode, we will definitely address any other questions we did not get a chance to talk about. But also the international signing period begins on Sunday. Right. And we're going to go ahead and talk about who the Astros have already committed to signing once the signing period starts. And we'll talk about some other stuff as the Astros offseason progresses towards spring training and the start of the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, so, thank you guys for tuning in. We thank y'all for your questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Astros 2021, Jess Smith, and the others. I am so sorry. I cannot remember the names of the people who asked the questions, but thank you so much. And hey, my mom tuned in. I just want to say she had cataract surgery recently, and it was funny, Eric. I'll just leave with this conversation. My mom was giving me statistics of like what the doctor said. She was like, the doctor said 2% chance that your eyesight improves, 2% chance it gets worse, and there's a 2% chance it'll stay the same. And I was like, Mom, that's only 6%. She's like, I didn't think about that. I said, yeah, that's an imbalance of, you need to find out what the other 94% is. So I was like, did you go to a minute clinic to get this surgery? And we were just cutting up. And so, life comes at you fast, but Mom, I'm so glad you've recovered from the surgery, and we'll be seeing her soon. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Eric and I appreciate it. And producer Mark is in the background making things happen. Thank you again for that intro, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you for throwing up the people's questions. And dude, you did have to bring the bigger mic, didn't you?
Yeah. So this is my studio mic. I don't quite have a podcast mic. This is when we come in and we make the official Locked On song, it will be done on this bad boy right here. It's my workhorse.
Nice. But are you okay? So you can rap on that mic, and you can.
I do anything on this mic. Yeah, play guitar on it.
Dang, anything, bro. Yeah. All right. Well, I like it. Producer Mark, thank you so much. We appreciate you being a part of our team, dude. This run it back season is going to be fun.
My God,
I'm really excited. I'm really excited about Astros baseball. And hey, Fan Fest. Look, we'll see you there. We'll give you more details as we get closer. It'll be fun. Look for us. I just ordered a fresh batch of Locked On Astros stickers. So if we get you on camera, we'll give you a sticker. You can put that on your Yeti or on your truck or whatever you want to do. So thank you so much for tuning in. Eric, great job. Eric's voice is recovered. We prayed over it, and it was great. No, man, you did great tonight. Again, Mark, thank you for everything. And make sure after you made us your first listen, make sure you make Locked On MLB Prospects your second listen. It is led by Sidney Crosby. He is Mr. Minor League Baseball, and he goes over all the prospects from every team in the league. So check them out tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Y'all have a good one. And as always, go Astros.
Go Astros.